Bible prophecy is active and unfolding daily. Zechariah 12, Isaiah 17, Psalm 83, Ezekiel 38. Here is what the LameStream Media is not telling you.
Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this week's newscast. While the Hamas leadership has consistently denied the existence of the Islamic State terrorists inside Gaza, Palestinian sources in Gaza say that the Islamic State has, over the past few months, recruited hundreds of young men to its ranks, mostly former members of Hamas and Islamic Jihad. And in a recent video, the Islamic State announced that its men would soon reach Gaza and remove the Hamas tyrants from power. USA Today reported that although a year ago, the CIA said it believed the Islamic State had between 20,000 and 31,500 fighters in Iraq and Syria, the estimate remains the same this year, despite more than 5,500 airstrikes that killed an estimated 15,000 militants. From the Jerusalem Post, Hamas will not return to open war with Israel until it obtains anti-aircraft missiles to prevent Israeli Air Force attacks on its positions. Sources in Gaza said that Hamas learned during last summer's war that the cost of engaging in direct confrontation with the IDF was not worth it, and that it will instead focus on carrying out terror attacks originating in the West Bank. Turning to wars and rumors of wars, on Tuesday, August 4th, Ynet News reported a 27-year-old Israeli woman, Inbar Azraq, was wounded by a firebomb thrown at her car, which was stopped at a traffic light in the Arab neighborhood of Beit Hanina in Jerusalem. Wednesday, August 5th, the Iraqi forces took control of the Sufia region located east of Ramadi city. 35 terrorists were killed during the military operations. Some others fled by the Euphrates River. One of the commanders of the armed forces of Anbar province mentioned that they are advancing to liberate other regions of the province. He also said that terrorists of the Islamic State were also killed in the Al Jazeera region. According to the Taiwanese China Times, Iran will get 24 J-10 fighters from China in exchange for allowing Beijing to utilize the large Azedegan oil field over the next 20 years. The fighters, which have a range of 2,940 kilometers, will be delivered to Iran by 2020 and will increase Iran's Air Force capabilities in defending the country's key facilities and will, of course, pose a threat to Israel. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has published a new book called Palestine. It's a 416-page screed against the Jewish nation. A blurb on the back cover credits Khamenei with, quote, the flag bearer of jihad to liberate Jerusalem, close quote. Khamenei claims that his strategy for the destruction of Israel is not based on anti-Semitism, but rather on, quote, well-established Islamic principles, close quote. One such principle being that a land which falls under Muslim rule, even briefly, can never again be ceded to non-Muslims. Dozens of maps circulate in the Muslim world showing the extent of Muslim territories lost to the infidel, which must be recovered, including large parts of Russia and Europe, almost a third of China, the whole of India, and parts of the Philippines and Thailand. Khamenei recommends a long period of low-intensity warfare designed to make life unpleasant for Israeli Jews so that they leave the country. President Obama took on critics of the Iran nuclear deal in a speech on Wednesday at the American University in Washington, where he said, quote, "The choice we face is ultimately between diplomacy and some sort of war. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not 3 months from now, but soon." Close quote. Really? Things are getting crazier, my friends, and at a faster pace than ever before. And by the way, it seems that everyone under the sun is against and complaining about the dumb deal with Iran already. Further, the nuclear deal is seen by many Arabs as signifying the beginning of an American strategic shift towards Iran as the major power in the region. The Jerusalem Post reported Palestinian religious leaders on Wednesday issued a declaration titled "The Blessed Aqsa Mosque Document," expressing objections to Israeli and Jordanian understandings that allow Jews to visit the Temple Mount. Former Jerusalem Mufti Sheikh Ekrima Sabri said, "The Jews entering the site is an incursion of Palestinian Muslim rights." Then on Thursday, August 6th, Gaza militants loyal to the Islamic State fired 3 rockets from Gaza into Israel on Thursday night. Then from Haaretz, 3 Israeli soldiers were wounded on Thursday in a hit-and-run terror attack near the village of Sinjil in the West Bank. The driver of the vehicle was shot and wounded. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said shortly after the incident, quote, "I want to congratulate the soldiers who reacted quickly to neutralize the terrorist and wish a speedy recovery to the wounded. I find it puzzling that those who were so quick to denounce terror against Palestinians are silent when the terror is aimed at Jews." Close quote. Hamas and Islamic Jihad praised the attack, calling it an act of heroism. Hamas spokesperson Abad Arahim Shadid said, quote, "We call upon the members of our people in the West Bank to carry out more terror attacks." On Sunday, August 9th, an Israeli man was stabbed by a Palestinian while fueling his car at a gas station on Highway 443 near Modin on Sunday night. The IDF shot and killed one attacker at the scene, while 3 others fled. September is just 3 weeks away, my friends, and bears some very powerful things to consider about Bible prophecy and the closeness of the time of the tribulation, which is fast approaching us. Yom Teruah, also known as Rosh Hashanah or the Feast of Trumpets, begins next month on September 13th and ends on September 15th. I'll be talking about this in my video coming this Thursday, 2 days from now, where I'll be giving a very personal sit-down with my YouTube subscribers and talking about the things that have been going through my mind about this coming Moed, this Kodesh appointment Yahuwah has with mankind. Could this be the year Abba Father brings his Kodeshim home to spare them the day of his wrath? I'll be talking about that. Now, September 13th, this year's Elul 29 on the biblical calendar, brings a partial solar eclipse and the end of a 7-year Shemitah cycle, the 7th and final year in the cycle known as the Year of Judgment. The date, Elul 29, has marked with absolute precision the last two financial collapses of 2001 and 2008. Many believe these were warnings to America and to the world at large for turning away from Elohim, the creator of all things, and are watching to see what possible catastrophe will follow the coming event of September 13th, Elul 29. September 28th brings to us the climax of the 2014-2015 blood moon tetrad, where a super blood moon will be seen setting over Israel during the biblical Jewish holy day of Tabernacles. A blood moon tetrad tied to the biblical calendar will not happen again for more than 500 years. And rightly so, many believe September 28th completes the final tetrad just before Messiah's return. The last two times a blood moon tetrad happened was in 1949 and 50, when the Jews came back to their promised land after nearly 2,000 years of prophecy saying they would. And then again in 1967-68, when the Jews recaptured their eternal capital, Jerusalem, Yerushalayim. And major Middle East wars were the catalysts each time. Scott Clarke has just put up a new article covering some of the finer details about all this on his website, and I don't know anyone who covers these things better, my friends. You'll see this graphic at the end of today's newscast where you can click on that, and it will take you directly to Scott's article on his website. Or you can click the link seen in the More Info section beneath this video. So, last week we saw that ISIS is growing more than anyone knew. Hamas is gaining in strength and focusing hard on its next attack on Israel. Firebombs, stabbings, and terror attacks in Israel increasing. Wars in Iraq. China increasing Iran's air force with J-10 fighters for oil. Books being published to promote hatred of Israel and Jews being blocked from visiting the Temple Mount. More rockets fired on Israel from Gaza, and the dumb deal with Iran falling apart at the seams. And that, my friends, is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Abba willing, I'll see you here again next week. Until then, stay safe. Shalom.
Crowded rooms, I need more space than I consume. Enough is time alone with you, underneath a naked moon, sharing confidential moods and making chatter. Mockingbird nocturnal sings notations of eternal things, entering the quantum breeze, flying not for want of wings. He lights his gaze on you and me, simply because we matter.